Is Michigan the fourth best team in the Big Ten? ESPN's Football Power Index seems to think so. Let's talk about why that is and whether or not they're onto something. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that is something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that Michigan is the fourth best team in the Big Ten? I'm not so sure, and I'm going to tell you why. First, I'm going to remind you we got an audio podcast on Spotify and Apple, and I'm giving away a free sticker, looks like this, to anyone that leaves a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I will personally put this sticker in the mail to you. I have many that are set to go out here today, as folks have really responded in a positive way to this. If there are things that you like about the audio podcast, things we can improve upon, things you'd like to see, go ahead and tell me about that. This video podcast is also on Spotify because, well, we can do that. And at least for right now, I just don't want to put any ads there. So it is ad-free listening for anybody that wants to enjoy a longer version of this show where we basically stack the segments together and create something that's between 20 and 40 minutes of content that I think you could use 3, 4, 5 times a week, okay? So I'm not really sold on Michigan being the fourth best team in the Big Ten this year. And I'm going to put aside NCAA bylaw 11.6.1, which prohibits off-campus, in-person scouting of future opponents, or what the NCAA Infractions Committee just heard about Michigan last weekend. They're going to come to some decision in the next few months. This is dragging on way longer than it needs to be, but I don't know that it's going to affect the play on the field. It might affect some of the coaches on the field, but certainly not the players. So we're going into this year where ESPN's Football Power Index picks Ohio State to win the national championship, win the Big Ten championship, right? They are the defending national champs. Penn State to play in that game against them, and then Oregon to be third. Those three teams also rank inside the top 10 of their Football Power Index. But what's really interesting is there's no other team in the Big Ten that's inside the top 15. As a matter of fact, Michigan comes in at 17, which I found interesting as they're in front of USC, they're in front of Nebraska, they're way in front of Iowa and Illinois. We expect Illinois to be good. We think USC could be good. Nebraska could be good. And Iowa is going to be Iowa, right? Which is to say they're going to go bowling, we think, but are they going to get to 9, 10 wins? Depends. They got a great quarterback in Mark Gronowski, who set the FCS record for wins by a quarterback with 49 at South Dakota State, won 2 national championships, was an FCS first-team All-American. That ain't what they got at Michigan. What they got is a greenhorn at quarterback, a very talented greenhorn, but a greenhorn nonetheless in Bryce Underwood, the $12 million man, as it were. Now, if you're a Michigan fan, you're going, RJ, do you not remember that we were a good football team without a quarterback last year? Like, we basically played without one? Yes, I do. Davis Warren led them in passing with, and I kid you not, 1,199 yards. Wow. If you were looking for a coach that did the most with the least, maybe Sherrone Moore's there. But I would also make the argument that you went all in on Alex Orji, and when it wasn't working, you tried to go all in on Jack Tuttle, and that wasn't working. Davis Warren's ended up being the guy that's healthy enough to complete the season. And that you trust, right? Because nothing to say nothing of the Jadens behind him that they just did not want to play. They also are probably going to be a little bit better at tailback. Khalil Mullins had 948 rush yards, but that was the year we expected Donovan Edwards to go for like 1,300 yards on the ground. Talking about the NCAA, the EA Sports College Football 25 curse, coming to get that dude in particular because Quinn Ewers played well and Travis Hunter won the friggin' Heisman Trophy. But you're also adding Justice Haynes to this along with Jordan Marshall. So they're going to have a couple of tailbacks that we think can carry the rock and are going to be pretty good. Where they're going to have a problem on the offense is at wide receiver. It's damn obvious. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know if you watched even a little bit of Michigan football last year. We're talking about not a single wide receiver returning with more than 260 yards. You're asking a lot out of that receiving core to show up in ways that they hadn't. Their leading receiver last year was a tight end. Yes, it was Colston Loveland, but it was still a tight end. That's not how you want to draw this up. Defense was also having to do a whole hell of a lot of work, and they don't have those dudes in the middle anymore. They don't have Mason Graham. They don't have Kenneth Grant. They're going to have to find a different way to do this. So I think the gap between the top 3 teams and the other 15 teams is enormous. That is also, I think, one of the things that the Football Power Index gets right. Now, down the middle, we're going to get squirrely here because they seem to think that Illinois was not as great as we thought they could be, and this is a team that ends up showing us something against South Carolina in a bowl game. They return Luke Altmaier, and Brett Bielema is feeling himself. We also got Indiana in here that may or may not be decent because Kurt Cignetti has showed he can recruit, he can roster manage, and he can put a team out on the field that's going to win football games. He's going to throw it all behind Fernando Mendoza this year like he did Curtis Rourke, and we'll see where they end up. Iowa, again, that's my wild card in the Big Ten because they finally got a quarterback. And anytime they've had a quarterback, they've been dangerous because Phil Parker's defense is going to play outstandingly. I just think about what if the 2023 Iowa defense had an offense that just had a pulse, man. That hurt my heart. I love watching that defense play. They deserved a much better offense than the one that they got. And then we don't know what Jaden Mayava will be, but we expect he'll be better. They had a lot of fun in the portal. Did they lose some guys? Yes, they lost Zachariah Branch. They lost Deuce Robinson. They lost a few, right? But I don't know that it's going to hurt them the way that, or Gary Bryant Jr. to Oregon. I don't know it's going to hurt them in the way that it would hurt someone else. Penn State's up there, but that's without wide receivers. We'll see what they develop. I still don't think that Drew Aller is a championship quarterback. He's welcome to change that. And then there's Nebraska, which I can never actually kind of pull the pin down. I want them to be good because football's better when they're good. But we're also talking about a Nebraska team that just can't get out of its own way, even knowing that they got one of the schedules that everybody wants this year. They got 7 home games, and they don't really play anybody that gives them a fit until they get to Penn State. I honestly believe that Nebraska could be in line to win 9 games if things fall for them and Matt Rule does not get in the way. As much credit as I want to give Matt Rule for being a program builder, because he is, I'm also going to point out to you, he ain't the best at in-game situations, and he is renowned for, throwing a hissy fit on the sideline, not unlike Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. I think how you are on that sideline has a lot to do with the indication of how good your football team is. If you have it under control and you feel like you're under control and you can have tete-a-tetes with the referee, go right ahead. But if you are losing your mind on the sideline because calls didn't go your way, play the next play, right? That's what they tell us. They tell us to play the next play. Forget about that. Play the next play. Call the next play. The referee has made their decision. There's challenge or not, but let's go. Let's go. Put the ball in Dylan Raiola's hands. Let Dana Holgorsen call the offense, and then see where you end up. I genuinely believe that we're going to be talking about Ohio State winning the Big Ten championship for the first time in 5 years. But outside of that, I wouldn't be shocked to find out that Oregon is right there with them once again. Penn State might be on the outside looking in, and Michigan could be the 4th best team in the Big Ten, even though they were the 7th best team last year, just because they got a little bit better at quarterback with Bryce Underwood. You tell me, though, where do you think Michigan is going to end up in 2025 in the Big Ten standings?